And I now give the floor to the distinguished representative of Ghana.
Mr. Chairman, at the outset, let me use this opportunity to congratulate you and your Bureau on your election and to wish you the very best in your tenure. Ghana associates itself with the statement delivered by Guyana on behalf of the Group of 77 and China, and by Morocco on behalf of the African Group, and wishes to make the following remark in its national capacity. This session occurs at a crucial time when the organization marks 75 years of its founding, amidst an unprecedented global crisis. The year 2020 has witnessed a devastating pandemic whose multidimensional impact is still reverberating around the world. While COVID-19 is a health crisis affecting the entire international community, we could not have predicted the scope of its effect on global economic growth, political momentum, and social inequality. According to recent World Bank statistics, an estimated 46 to 66 million children could fall into extreme poverty as a result of the crisis this year, adding to the estimated 386 million children already living in extreme poverty. The pandemic has exposed the multiple determinants of vulnerability, and we can now acknowledge challenges such as lack of access to water, sanitation, clean energy, and information communication technology, apart from the basic deprivations already known by many, including poverty, hunger, and disease. While we continue to implement the Decade of Action, the issue of the eradication of poverty must continue to remain high on the agenda of this committee. Developing countries like mine continue to strive to lift its people out of poverty through the creation of a national and enabling environment. However, amid rising inequalities within and among countries, the challenges continue to increase. It is also important to stress that the current levels of financial flows fall far short of what are required towards fulfilling the 17 goals. We need to highlight the fact that collective efforts and partnerships are required of governments, business leaders, and the financial sector to meet the annual investment requirement of 5 to 7 trillion for the SDGs. It is critical to scale up and speed up long-term sustainable financing from both public and private, domestic and international public sources. The restructuring of the global financing architecture is of utmost importance now more than ever. It will also be critical for maintaining decent standards of living of our peoples and to ensure that the gains made in transforming our respective economies are not eroded. Domestic resource mobilization will be significantly enhanced if we join hands in the fight against illicit financial flows from developing countries, which are already severely constrained to meet the cost of critical social interventions and developmental imperatives from scarce resources. We support the calls for strengthening international cooperation in tax matters, not excluding the creation of an inclusive global forum to deal with challenges associated with tax evasion and illicit financial flows. Ghana calls on the UN to address the vagaries of the international system in the areas of finance, health, agriculture, trade, and environment, among others. We wish to emphasize the need to reaffirm the values of a fair multilateral trading system that facilitates trade and provides opportunities for developing countries to broaden their export base and to advance their economies. We also urge the promotion of sustainable infrastructure development in developing countries, the transfer of appropriate technology, and the adoption of policies and institutional frameworks that are duly supported by affordable and clean technology. It should be noted that in the current global dispensation, it has become more critical to spread the benefits of technology, as the lack of it has widened persistent inequalities and will ultimately prove disadvantageous to the world at large. The digital and technological divide has been further exacerbated as it became necessary for countries to implement school closures globally, affecting more than 1.5 billion children and youth. Mr. Chairman, the nexus between climate change, biodiversity, and health cannot be overemphasized, as the COVID-19 pandemic has amply demonstrated. A transition to sustainability requires a change in the way we interact with the environment and nature. Nature-based solutions must be integrated into integrated into recovery efforts to ensure green, resilient, and inclusive economies necessary for recovering better. Now is the time to take urgent, transformative, and sustainable action to build resilience and the integrity of ecosystems and halt biodiversity loss to mitigate the impact of another pandemic. Concerning operational activities of the United Nations, my delegation welcomes efforts by the Secretary General to reposition the development architecture of the organization to make it more fit for purpose. It is hoped that through the Office of the Reinvigorated Current Resident Coordinator, enough resources will be garnered and made available for the activities of the organization in developing countries. In conclusion, I wish to reaffirm Ghana's full commitment to the Paris Agreement, the Addis Ababa Action Agenda, and other important UN agreements. We believe that strengthening our collective action to address global challenges is the only way forward. I thank you for your attention.
I thank the distinguished representative of Ghana for his statement.